Welcome everyone, join us today as we uncover the life of Stan Polley, best known as the controversial manager of Badfinger. His story is one of greed, control, and the devastating toll of betrayal in the music industry, leaving scars not only on the world of music, but on the lives, families, and futures of those who placed their trust in him. So let's dive in. Stanley Herbert Polley, born April 7, 1922, in New York City, New York, United States of America. Born in New York and of Jewish heritage, Stan Polley served as a corporal in the U.S. Army during World War II. After the war, he returned to civilian life, practicing law and working in retail before shifting into New York's garment industry, where he began building connections that would later lead him into entertainment management. In the mid-1960s, Polley's entry into artist representation began through his association with pop singer Lou Christie. This partnership opened the door to other clients across the New York and Los Angeles entertainment scenes. By 1968, he formally established Five Arts Management, representing not only Christie but also figures like musician Al Kooper, arranger Charles Colello, TV director Michael Cooper, composer Sandy Linzer, and WABC disc jockey Bob Lewis. In addition to his primary company, Polley created a series of other business entities, structured for legal and financial purposes, to manage and handle earnings for clients including composers Irwin Levine and Larry Brown. In 1970, Welsh rock group Badfinger, who formed in Swansea in 1961, were riding the wave of success. Their popularity was growing on the back of their Beatles connection, being signed to their label Apple Records, as well as international hits like Come and Get It, and the now classic Without You. They found themselves with no formal representation in the United States. While touring the US, their road manager, Bill Collins, was introduced to Stan Polley, a New York businessman with a polished image and a silver tongue. Later that year, Polley signed on as the band's business manager and created Badfinger Enterprises Incorporated, with his associate Stan Posers installed as vice president. The band members, Pete Ham, Tom Evans, Joey Molland, and Mike Gibbons, were unaware of the tangled web they were entering. Polley seemed authoritative, well-connected, and gave the impression of being a paternal figure, someone who could guide these young musicians to financial security. But instead, he trapped them in a complex structure of contracts that funneled all their earnings, recording, touring, songwriting, and even personal royalties, into holding companies that he controlled. Financial arrangements were quickly established, with each band member receiving modest salaries that were shockingly low compared to their earnings. A financial statement prepared by Polley's accountants from late 1970 to late 1971 revealed the truth. Polley pocketed more than $75,000 in commission, while group members earned $8,339 for Joey Molland, $6,861 for Mike Gibbons, $6,211 for Tom Evans, and $5,959 for Pete Ham. Meanwhile, Polley's personal fortune grew steadily. Gibbons later remarked, "My first impression was, Stan is a powerful guy." Molland also was initially taken in, saying Polley seemed like a father figure. But that illusion would not last. Despite Polley's shady past, including ties to organized crime and being named in U.S. Senate hearings as an intermediary between mafia figures and a New York judge, Badfinger continued to trust him, largely due to their own naivete and lack of industry experience. They had no idea that the very person tasked with safeguarding their financial future was in fact looting it behind their backs. By 1972, as Apple Records began winding down under Alan Klein's leadership, Polley secured a new recording contract for Badfinger with Warner Brothers. It was presented as a game changer, a $3 million deal with generous royalties and a $225,000 advance per album. Polley told the band they were millionaires. But the money was paid into an escrow account that only he controlled, and which Warner Brothers later discovered had mysteriously vanished. The band continued working, unaware of the financial storm brewing behind the scenes. Their first Warner album, Badfinger, was released around the same time as Us, their final release for Apple, leading to market confusion and underwhelming sales for both. Internal tensions were mounting, especially as Molland's wife Kathy became more involved in the band's affairs, something that caused resentment, particularly from Pete Ham. When Kathy pushed to take on a managerial role, Ham abruptly quit the band, later citing her influence as a key factor. Polley, meanwhile, was attempting to launch Ham as a solo artist, but Warner made it clear they wanted Ham in Badfinger or they'd stop promoting the band entirely. Under pressure, Ham rejoined, and Bob Jackson, recruited during Ham's brief departure, remained on as a fifth member. Badfinger pushed on, recording the critically acclaimed "Wish You Were Here" at Caribou Ranch and Air Studios. The album was hailed as one of their best, but its release was marred by looming disaster. Warner Brothers, frustrated by Polley's refusal to disclose the location of the escrow funds, sued both Polley and Badfinger in December 1974. Though "Wish You Were Here" had just been released to strong reviews, Warner pulled it from shelves after only 7 weeks and halted all promotional and distribution efforts. Their follow-up album, Head First, recorded hastily in just 11 days, as Polley wanted the LP advance, was rejected by Warner as legal battles escalated. Badfinger's career was effectively dead. With their albums pulled, income frozen, and legal contracts tying them to a manager who had disappeared without a trace, Badfinger were left penniless. Their March 1975 paychecks bounced, and by April, no payments came at all. Ham, who had recently purchased a modest home in Woking, Surrey, was in deep financial distress. His girlfriend was pregnant with their second child, and he couldn't even cover the mortgage. Friends noticed alarming changes. Pete had become withdrawn and depressed, extinguishing cigarettes on his own arms in silent agony. On the night of April 23, 1975, Ham received a devastating phone call from the United States informing him that all his money was gone. He met with bandmate Tom Evans at a local pub, where he downed 10 whiskeys. Evans drove him home in the early hours of the morning, and later, Pete hanged himself in his garage studio. He was 27 years old. In a note addressed to his partner Anne and her son, he wrote, "Anne, I love you. Blair, I love you. I will not be allowed to love and trust everybody. This is better, Pete. P.S. Stan Polley is a soulless bastard. I will take him with me." Ham's daughter, Petera, was born 1 month after his death. The band dissolved shortly afterward. Warner terminated their contract, and Apple quietly removed all of Badfinger's albums from their catalog. Tom Evans, devastated by Ham's death and increasingly entangled in lawsuits and failed ventures of his own, eventually met a similar fate. On November 19, 1983, he took his life the same way, in his garden, at age 36. Many believe that the unresolved trauma of Ham's death and continued financial disputes pushed him over the edge. As for Stan Polley, he evaded serious consequences for years. In 1991, he pleaded no contest to charges of money laundering and misappropriation of funds in an unrelated case involving aerospace engineer Peter Brock, who claimed Polley stole $250,000 from a joint venture. Polley was placed on probation for 5 years and ordered to pay restitution, money that Brock later claimed never arrived. Polley eventually died in 2009 at the age of 87, reportedly of cancer, either pancreatic or colon, though that remains unconfirmed. The man who once styled himself as a high-powered industry executive spent his final years in obscurity. Reportedly the father of several children, he would allegedly marry a hairdresser named Connie and live off her income in a double-wide trailer in California, until his passing. The good life that his crimes had once provided him was long gone. He died the same way he lived, quietly, manipulatively, and with no sign of remorse. Badfinger's tragic tale stands as one of rock music's most sobering cautionary stories. Despite having written and recorded some of the era's most enduring hits, Pete Ham and Tom Evans died broke and betrayed, victims of a corrupt system and a man who saw them only as a means to enrich himself. Through it all, they clung to their dreams, their love of music, and each other, until it all became too much to bear. Both they, and Badfinger, may have been tragically silenced, but their music lives on. Their songs continue to inspire, their music still echo, and they will always be remembered and loved by fans around the world, forever. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe for more videos, just like this. Take care and bye for now.